I bet you $100 you can't guess the dumbest complaint on this list. Seriously, was it the lady who thought Bluetooth meant blue teeth? Or the guy who demanded a refund on a free sample? Today, we are ranking the 56 most delusionally entitled Christmas shoppers in US history. Hit subscribe right now to prove you have more brain cells than these people. And drop a comment if you've ever worked retail. Watch till the end to see if you would have slapped them or served them. 1. A determined, middle-aged woman stormed into the electronics department 5 days before Christmas, demanding the hottest toy of the year. The exhausted college student working the counter politely explained they were completely sold out. She narrowed her eyes and accused him of lying because she knew how retail worked. She insisted he was hiding a secret stash in the back room just for himself. To prove a point, she made him walk into the empty stockroom while she watched the door like a hawk. When he returned empty-handed, she did not apologize. Instead, she went straight to customer service and filed a formal written complaint, stating the employee was hoarding inventory. She truly believed the back room was magical. 2. An older lady marched into a busy Walmart with her smartphone held high like a weapon. She told the associate she was there to collect the air fryer she had just placed in her cart. The confused employee asked for her order number. The woman grew impatient and shoved her phone screen directly into the worker's face. The screen clearly showed an Amazon shopping cart with the item sitting in it, but not yet purchased. When the employee explained that the internet is not a physical location inside this building, the woman went nuclear. She screamed that she put it in the cart 10 minutes ago, so it should be ready. She left shouting that technology was a total scam. 3. A wealthy woman stayed in the store 20 minutes past closing time while employees awkwardly vacuumed around her. When she finally brought her mountain of toys to the register, she dropped a bombshell on the tired cashier. She demanded that every single item be professionally gift-wrapped immediately. The manager explained that the wrapping station had closed an hour ago and the staff needed to go home to their families. The woman slammed her hand on the counter and announced that her purchases paid their salaries, so they technically worked for her. She refused to leave until the manager found some tape and clumsily wrapped a toaster while she critiqued his folding skills. The audacity was truly breathtaking. 4. A furious fashionista returned a pair of trendy boots, holding them by the laces like they were radioactive waste. The boots were completely warped and looked like Salvador Dali paintings because she had dried them directly next to a roaring fireplace. When the clerk pointed out the heat damage, the woman scoffed, saying quality leather should not do that. The clerk gently reminded her she bought vegan leather, which is essentially fancy plastic. The customer stared blankly and yelled that real animals do not melt, so synthetic ones shouldn't either. She demanded a full refund for her melted plastic shoes while questioning the biology of fake cows. 5. A frantic woman tried to bypass a 2-hour line on Black Friday by pretending to search for her lost husband near the front. She bobbed and weaved through the angry mob until she conveniently landed, right next to the registers. The crowd instantly realized what she was doing and started booing her aggressively like she was a wrestling villain. She ran to the security guard with tears in her eyes, claiming she had been verbally assaulted by the other shoppers. Instead of kicking out the hecklers, the guard escorted her all the way to the back of the line. She filed a police report because her feelings were hurt. 6. An angry shopper approached the checkout counter looking for a fight during the busy holiday rush. The first cashier smiled warmly and wished her a generic happy holidays to be polite. The woman slammed her items down and lectured the girl about erasing the true meaning of Christmas. She moved to the next register, hoping for better service. The second cashier learned from the mistake and wished her a very Merry Christmas. The woman immediately exploded again, screaming that the cashier had no right to assume her religion. She yelled at both employees for doing exactly what she asked and then stormed out without buying her candles. 7. A confused homeowner called customer support in a rage, claiming a porch pirate had destroyed her delivery. She explained that she arrived home to find the box completely crushed flat in her driveway. The representative looked at the delivery photo, which showed the package sitting perfectly safely near the garage door. After some questioning, the woman admitted she didn't see the box when she pulled in and actually drove her own SUV right over it. Despite admitting she was the one who flattened the gift, she demanded a full refund. She argued that the driver should have known she was a bad driver and placed it somewhere else. 8. A disgruntled housewife returned a frozen turkey the day after Christmas with the receipt clutched in her hand. She slammed the bird onto the counter and told the butcher it was defective merchandise. She claimed she put the turkey in the oven just 30 minutes before dinner, and it came out cold and raw in the middle. The butcher stared at her in silence, trying to process the stupidity. He explained that a 20-pound turkey takes hours to cook and days to thaw. She refused to believe him and said the packaging didn't have a giant warning sticker, so it was false advertising. She served pizza for Christmas. 9. A thrifty mom held up the entire checkout line while digging through her oversized purse for a discount. She finally produced a crumpled piece of paper that looked like an ancient artifact. The cashier scanned it, and the machine rejected the code immediately. When the manager came over, he pointed out the expiration date was from 7 years ago. The woman did not care about the linear passage of time. She screamed that the store was ruining her kids' Christmas over a few dollars. She argued that a good company should honor their coupons forever, regardless of the decade. She left the store vowing to never return again. 10. A confused grandfather walked into the tech department holding a Bluetooth speaker like it was an alien device. He told the tech support guy that the item was broken right out of the box. He was angry because he searched the entire packaging and could not find the wire to plug it into his phone. The employee tried to explain that Bluetooth technology is designed specifically to work without cables. The man got red in the face and called it a defective product. He said if he pays good money for a speaker, he expects a cord included. He returned it and bought a cassette player instead. 11. A young woman called the police in the mall parking lot because her day was ruined. She saw a car park in the expectant mother spot, but the driver did not look pregnant enough to her. The driver was actually 8 months pregnant but wearing a large winter coat. The complainer stood by the car demanding a pregnancy test or a medical certificate to prove eligibility. When the police actually arrived, they laughed at her and told her it was store policy, not a law. She screamed that she was protecting the sanctity of motherhood while blocking traffic for 20 minutes. She truly thought she was the parking lot sheriff. 12. A father stood in the toy aisle ripping open packages like a wild animal. He opened a remote control car and saw it needed batteries, so he grabbed a separate pack of Duracell batteries and tore them open too. He tried to jam the stolen batteries into the car box before heading to the register. When security stopped him, he looked genuinely confused and angry. He shouted that writing batteries not included on the box was a scam to steal his money. He claimed he was just fixing their mistake by completing the set. He was banned from the store for destroying merchandise and logic. 13. A ruthless bargain hunter arrived at the electronics store but saw a massive line wrapping around the block. She decided she was too important to wait in the cold with the peasants. She walked around the corner and called the fire department, reporting a massive gas leak inside the building. As soon as the alarms went off and the store was evacuated, she tried to sneak in the back door to grab the TVs first. The firefighters caught her hiding behind a dumpster, waiting for the chaos to clear. She told the police she was just being a smart shopper and deserved a reward. 14. A well-dressed lady approached the service desk with a bag of obviously worn undergarments. She told the disgusted manager that she wanted a refund because they were not as comfortable as she hoped after wearing them all day. When the manager refused to take back used underwear for sanitary reasons, she went ballistic. She demanded the personal cell phone number of the company's CEO immediately. She insisted that she and the CEO were close friends and he would want to know about this injustice. She stood there for an hour waiting for the CEO to fly in and approve her dirty laundry return. 15. A furious mother chased down an Amazon delivery truck 2 blocks away from her house. She screamed at the driver for delivering packages to her front porch while her children were playing outside in the snow. She claimed he had ruined the magic of Santa Claus by letting her kids see boxes with the Amazon logo on them. The driver apologized, but explained he just delivers boxes and is not a magical elf. She demanded he come back later in a sleigh, or at least hide the boxes in the bushes next time. She actually reported him to corporate for not being festive enough. 16. A health-conscious shopper caused a scene in the beverage aisle over a case of bottled water. She flagged down a stocking clerk and aggressively pointed at the label on the bottle. She was angry because nowhere on the plastic did it explicitly say the water was gluten-free. The employee tried to hold back laughter while explaining that water is naturally free of wheat and gluten. The woman refused to trust him and said big corporations hide gluten in everything to make people sick. She left the cart there and stormed out saying she would only drink rainwater from now on to be safe. 17. An aunt wandered into the children's department looking completely lost and overwhelmed. She grabbed a passing sales associate and asked for a shirt for her nephew. When the associate asked what size the boy wears, the woman got annoyed. She said she had not seen him in a year, but he is a regular-looking kid. The employee explained she could not guess the size without seeing him or knowing his age. The aunt left a 1-star review online claiming the staff was incompetent and unhelpful. She expected the minimum wage worker to have psychic powers and magically know the dimensions of her distant relative. 18. A paranoid man in a tinfoil hat stood at the checkout counter refusing to insert his credit card. The cashier asked him to please use the chip reader to complete his purchase. He covered the machine with his hand and whispered that the Christmas music playing overhead was transmitting data to the chip. He believed the holiday songs were actually a government signal to steal his identity through the card slot. He demanded to pay by writing a check on a napkin because paper trails are safer. The line behind him groaned as he explained his theory about how Jingle Bells is a surveillance tool. 19. A mob of angry shoppers gathered outside the glass doors at 5 in the morning on a freezing Saturday. Inside the store, the night crew was busy stocking shelves and drinking coffee before opening. The crowd started banging on the glass and screaming that the employees were mocking them. One woman shouted that seeing people inside while she was outside was a personal insult. She claimed the workers were eating donuts just to make the customers jealous. When the doors finally opened, she ran straight to the manager to complain that the shelf stockers were not working hard enough to let her in early. 20. A confused lady brought a coffee mug to the customer service desk asking for a discount. She told the clerk that the mug was manufactured incorrectly because the handle was on the wrong side. The clerk looked at the mug and simply turned it around 180 degrees. The lady gasped, but then doubled down on her complaint. She argued that she is left-handed and the design discriminates against her people. She insisted on a 50% discount for the emotional distress of holding a mug backwards. She bought it anyway but promised to write a strong letter to the mug factory. 21. A confident guy walked into the electronics section, holding his phone like a winning lottery ticket. He pointed at a brand new 4K television and demanded the store price match it immediately. The manager asked to see the competitor's ad to verify the lower price. The man proudly swiped his screen to show a blurry photo of an old TV sitting on a lawn at a garage sale. He argued that since the garage sale was technically a competitor, the store had to honor the $50 price tag. When the manager refused, the man accused him of false advertising and threatened to call the Better Business Bureau over a yard sale find. 22. An elderly woman held up the line while paying for her knitting supplies with very old paper money. The total was $20, but she only handed the cashier $10. When the cashier asked for the rest, the woman scoffed and explained her bills were older print from the 90s. She insisted that because the bills were vintage, they were worth double their face value due to inflation. She lectured the teenage cashier on economics, claiming the store was actually ripping her off by taking her rare currency. She eventually paid the rest in pennies while muttering about how nobody respects the value of a dollar anymore. 23. A stressed delivery driver stared at his scanner in disbelief while reading the special instructions for a package. The customer had left a strict note demanding the driver deliver the boxes down the chimney to prove he was real. The note explicitly stated that using the front door would result in a 1-star review because it would break the immersion for her children. The driver stood on the porch, ringing the doorbell while the woman yelled from inside to get on the roof. He eventually left the package at the door and marked it as delivered to front porch while the mom screamed that he ruined the Christmas magic. 24. A panicked mother stormed into the bakery section holding a half-eaten container of festive cookies. She demanded to speak to the head baker immediately about a medical emergency involving her toddler. She shouted that the edible glitter on the cookies had caused her child's bathroom habits to become sparkly and alarming. She accused the store of poisoning her son with dangerous craft supplies. The baker calmly explained that edible glitter is perfectly safe and often passes through the body unchanged. The mother refused to listen and demanded the store pay for a doctor's visit to treat her son's festive digestion issues. 25. A tired mom returned an elf-on-the-shelf doll claiming it was defective and broken. The customer service rep inspected the doll and found nothing wrong with the fabric or wiring. The woman explained that the doll was supposed to move on its own at night, but it had stayed in the same spot for 3 days. She was furious that she had to wake up early to move it herself because the box implied the elf had magic powers. She called it a scam and said she didn't pay $30 to do extra work. She demanded a refund for the non-magical toy. 26. A defiant shopper finished scanning a cart full of groceries at the self-checkout machine. Instead of paying the full amount, she left a small pile of pennies on the scanner and started walking away. The attendant stopped her and asked for the remaining payment. The woman loudly announced that she deducted her labor costs from the bill. She claimed that since she scanned her own items, she was technically an employee, and the $5 in pennies was her salary. She argued that the store owed her money for her time. Security had to escort her out while she shouted about labor unions. 27. A shameless man stood in line, eating chocolates directly out of a gift box he hadn't paid for yet. By the time he reached the register, the box was half empty and covered in wrappers. The cashier scanned the box, and the man looked shocked that he had to pay full price. He argued that he was just testing the product to make sure it wasn't stale before buying it. He refused to pay for the chocolates he had already eaten, claiming they were quality control samples. He tossed the half-empty box on the counter and walked out, saying he would not support a store with such strict sampling policies. 28. A frantic hobbyist returned a 1,000-piece puzzle claiming it was defective because exactly one piece was missing. She slammed the box down and said she spent 3 weeks building it, only to be disappointed at the end. The employee opened the box to inspect it and noticed something stuck to the woman's fuzzy Christmas sweater. The missing puzzle piece was clearly clinging to her wool sleeve right near her elbow. When the employee pointed it out, the woman turned red. She snatched the box back and stormed off without apologizing, blaming the manufacturer for making the pieces too sticky. 29. A chaotic scene erupted in the home goods aisle when 2 women started fighting over a blender. One woman screamed that the blender belonged to her because she had hidden it there earlier. She admitted she didn't have money for it 2 days ago, so she stashed it behind a stack of towels to save it. She accused the other shopper of stealing her hidden treasure. The manager had to intervene and explain that hiding merchandise does not constitute a legal reservation. The woman left crying that her secret hiding spot had been compromised by a thief. 30. A rude customer walked into the break room area, which was clearly marked for employees only. She saw a worker eating a sandwich and snapped her fingers at him to get his attention. She loudly complained that he looked bored and should be out on the floor helping her find ornaments. The employee tried to explain he was on his unpaid lunch break. The woman scoffed and said if he is wearing the uniform, he belongs to the public. She went to the manager and reported the employee for being lazy and eating on the job. She truly believed retail workers do not require food. 31. A man living on a farm called customer service to complain about his delivery speed. He was angry that his package was coming by truck instead of a high-tech flying drone. He cited a commercial he saw on television where a drone dropped a box in a yard within 30 minutes. He insisted that the company was lying to him by using a regular van. The representative explained that drone delivery is not available in his rural area yet. The man accused them of false advertising and demanded they fly a helicopter to his house immediately to honor the commercial. 32. A frustrated father posted a scathing 1-star review for a gingerbread house kit. He claimed the product was defective because the roof kept collapsing every time he tried to glue it with frosting. He wrote that the kit was too difficult for a normal person and required a structural engineering degree to assemble. He included photos of his collapsed cookie house as proof of the scam. He failed to mention that he didn't let the frosting harden before stacking the heavy pieces. He demanded a refund for the emotional damage caused by the falling roof. 33. A dad called the shipping company in a rage because his wife found out about her gift. He complained that the delivery box had the brand name of the jewelry store printed on the side. He argued that the company ruined the surprise because his wife signed for the package while he was at work. The representative explained that shipping labels often identify the sender for legal reasons. The man refused to accept this and demanded the company pay for a new surprise gift since this one was spoiled. He wanted them to ship things in invisible boxes from now on. 34. A confused lady walked into Best Buy, asking for the latest iPad model, which was currently out of stock. The associate apologized and said a new shipment would arrive next week. The woman pointed at a 3D printer on display and asked why they couldn't just print her a new iPad right now. She thought the printer could magically create complex electronics out of thin air if they just pressed a button. When the employee explained that plastic printers cannot make computer chips, she rolled her eyes. She left muttering that the employees were just too lazy to use the machine. 35. A lazy shopper walked up to a stocking clerk and handed him a crumpled, dirty piece of paper. He told the employee he would be waiting in his car and to bring the items out in 20 minutes. The employee looked at the handwritten list and explained that he is a stalker, not a personal shopper. The man got offended and said customer service is dead. He threw a $20 bill on the floor and said that should cover the tip. He walked out to his car expecting the employee to chase him. He sat in the parking lot for an hour, waiting for groceries that never came. 36. A passionate animal rights activist returned a faux fur coat in tears. She accused the store of lying to her because the coat felt too soft to be fake. She was convinced she was wearing a real animal and demanded the store prove no synthetic creatures were harmed. The manager showed her the tag, which explicitly said 100% polyester. She refused to believe the tag and claimed the company was sneaking real fur into cheap coats to trick vegans. She demanded a lab test to prove the fibers were plastic before she would calm down. 37. A weary woman filed a formal complaint against a clothing store for creating a hostile environment. Her grievance was not about the clothes, but about the lack of furniture. She was furious that there were no chairs for her husband to sit on while she shopped for 4 hours. She claimed her husband's back pain was the store's fault because they forced him to stand. She demanded the store install leather recliners in the women's section immediately. She argued that happy husbands spend more money so the chairs would pay for themselves. The manager politely suggested her husband could just wait in the car. 38. A horrified staff member discovered a pile of ruined clothes in the fitting room. A customer had used the corner of the changing booth as a toilet because the line for the public restroom was too long. The customer actually complained on her way out that the store needs more bathrooms. She blamed the store layout for forcing her to do the unthinkable. She showed zero remorse for destroying hundreds of dollars of merchandise. She acted like a victim of bad architecture rather than a person who just relieved themselves on a pile of jeans. This was a new low for retail humanity. 39. A confused person left a negative review because the delivery driver dropped the package at their home address. The complaint stated that the driver was stupid for leaving it there because the family was currently visiting in-laws 3 states away. The customer argued that the driver should have known the house was empty and magically rerouted the package to their vacation spot. They admitted they never updated the shipping address but still blamed the driver for lack of intuition. They demanded a refund for the inconvenience of having their package waiting safely at their own front door. 40. A disappointed shopper dragged a large artificial Christmas tree back into the store. She told the return desk that the product was defective because it did not smell like a forest. The employee pointed out that the box clearly says artificial and is made of plastic and wire. The woman argued that for the price she paid, they should have injected pine scent into the branches. She claimed it was false advertising to sell a tree that smells like a factory. She demanded a refund and also asked for a free car air freshener to compensate for her disappointment. 41. A furious woman marched to the service desk shaking snow off her expensive coat. She slammed her wet receipt down and demanded the store pay for her gas money home. She claimed the weather was clear when she entered, but it started storming while she shopped. She accused the employees of failing to warn her about the changing weather conditions outside. She argued that a good business would announce snow updates over the intercom to protect customers. The manager explained they do not control the sky or the forecast. She left screaming that she would sue them if her car slid on the ice. 42. A tech-illiterate customer grew increasingly angry in the electronics aisle. She was shouting the name Siri over and over again while staring at her phone. An employee named Siri happened to be stocking shelves nearby and turned around to help. The woman screamed at the real human Siri for ignoring her previous commands. The poor girl tried to explain she was a person and not the voice in the phone. The customer refused to listen and demanded a manager because her digital assistant had a bad attitude. She wanted the human Siri rebooted or fired immediately for being glitchy. 43. A math challenge shopper held up the line with a fistful of coupons. She presented 3 separate coupons that each offered 30% off a single item. She proudly told the cashier that she wanted 90% off her total purchase. The cashier explained that you cannot stack coupons to create a near-free transaction. The woman grabbed a calculator and aggressively punched in numbers to prove her wrong logic. She argued that 330s equal 90 in any school in America. She accused the store of changing the laws of mathematics just to steal her money. 44. A disappointed lady returned a large jar candle labeled Christmas Hope. She told the clerk the candle was clearly broken because she lit it and felt no hope. She complained it just smelled like generic vanilla and sugar cookies. She argued that the label was misleading because her holiday depression did not vanish after burning the wick. The clerk tried to explain that hope was just the marketing name for the scent blend. The woman demanded a refund for false emotional advertising. She said she would buy the Serenity candle instead to see if that worked better. 45. A pompous man in a suit was denied a return for an Eats item he bought 2 years ago. He leaned over the counter and threatened to have the cashier fired immediately. He loudly claimed to be personal friends with the owner of Target. The teenage cashier stared at him blankly, knowing that Target is a massive public corporation. The man insisted he would call Mr. Target personally to report this disrespect. He pulled out his phone and pretended to dial a very important number. He walked away having a fake conversation with an imaginary CEO about firing the staff. 46. A grumpy woman stormed into the manager's office covering her ears with her hands. She filed a formal noise complaint about the Salvation Army volunteer standing outside. She claimed the bell ringing was too loud and aggressive for her sensitive ears. She accused the charity worker of giving her a migraine on purpose to force a donation. She demanded the store go outside and confiscate the bell immediately. The manager explained that the charity had permission to be there for the holidays. She left a review saying the store supports noise pollution and hates people with headaches. 47. A perplexed homeowner called the shipping hotline to complain about excellent service. She was upset because her package arrived 2 days earlier than the estimated date. She argued that the early arrival was inconvenient because she was not mentally prepared to receive it yet. She claimed the surprise of seeing the box on her porch caused her unnecessary stress. She actually asked the representative if the driver could come back and pick it up. She wanted them to hold it at the warehouse until the original slow delivery date. She felt the efficiency was aggressive and rude. 48. A concerned wife brought a chewed-up rubber bone back to the pet store. She slammed it on the counter and said it was dangerous for dogs. The clerk asked if her dog had gotten sick from it. The woman said no, but her husband had chewed on it to test the quality. She claimed her husband said it tasted like cheap chemicals and plastic. The clerk stared in silence, wondering why a grown man was eating dog toys. The woman insisted that if it wasn't safe for her husband, it wasn't safe for her poodle. 49. A confused shopper threw a tantrum at the deli counter during the holiday rush. She looked over the glass case and asked where the Hanukkah hams were located. The butcher politely paused and explained that ham is pork and is not kosher. The woman rolled her eyes and said they were being exclusive and rude. She argued that festive hams should be available for every religion equally. She demanded they go check the back for a kosher pig product. She left shouting that the store was discriminating against her holiday dinner plans. 50. An angry grandfather returned a high-end digital photo frame in its original box. He told the tech support team that the device was clearly broken. He explained that he loaded the photos, but they didn't change when he shook the frame. He thought the digital screen worked exactly like an old Etch-a-Sketch toy. He demonstrated by violently shaking the expensive electronics in the air. The employee explained the photos change on a timer automatically. The man refused to wait and said he prefers to control the slideshow with manual labor. 51. A teenage boy tried to pull a fast one at the gift card rack. He brought a $100 Visa gift card to the register. When it was time to pay, he tried to swipe a $20 gift card to cover the cost. The cashier explained that he could not buy money with less money. The teen argued for 30 minutes that money is money and it should work. He truly believed he had discovered an infinite money glitch in the system. He left angry that his plan to become rich failed instantly. 52. A furious mother returned a spy kit toy she bought for her son. She opened the box and held up the pen labeled Invisible Ink. She screamed that the pen was dried out because nothing came out when she wrote. The employee grabbed a special black light included in the kit and shined it on the paper. The message magically appeared in glowing blue letters. The woman paused for a second and then doubled down. She said she shouldn't need a flashlight to see what she is writing. She returned it for a regular blue pen. 53. A dramatic customer stood at the top of the department store escalator, refusing to move. She called a security guard over and demanded he stop the machinery. She explained that she had a fear of moving stairs but needed to get downstairs. She wanted the entire store's escalator system shut down so she could walk down the metal steps. The guard pointed to the elevator located just 10 feet away. She refused the elevator, saying it was too claustrophobic. She forced the guard to escort her down the service stairs while she complained about customer accessibility. 54. A grumpy local filed a corporate complaint about the store's atmosphere. She wrote that the employees were smiling too much and it felt unnatural. She described the friendly greetings as cult-like and creepy. She claimed that nobody is that happy working retail in December, so they must be faking it. She requested that the staff tone down the joy because it made her suspicious. She suggested the manager train the team to look more miserable and realistic. She found the holiday cheer personally offensive and disturbing. 55. A fitness enthusiast left a scathing review for a delivery driver. She was angry that he left her new treadmill in the driveway. She had selected the free curbside delivery option during checkout to save money. However, she expected the driver to carry the 100-pound box up to her third-floor bedroom. She argued that he was a strong man and should have just done it to be nice. She called him lazy for following the exact contract she signed. She demanded the shipping company pay for a mover to finish the job she was too cheap to pay for. 56. A man threatened a lawsuit over a flat-screen television. He had been looking at the last display model for 10 minutes but walked away to use the bathroom. He did not put it in his cart or ask anyone to hold it. When he came back 5 minutes later, another customer was buying it. He screamed that he had mental dibs on the TV. He threatened to sue the store for emotional distress and breach of implied contract. He demanded the police arrest the other customer for stealing his thought. If you survived this list without losing your mind, you legally deserve a medal. Honestly, I think the lady who tried to return melted plastic boots wins the award for absolute delusion. Now I need to know your opinion. Which one of these shoppers belongs in jail? Was it the mental dibs guy or the woman who ate the glitter cookies? Let me know in the comments because I am pinning the funniest answer. If you enjoyed this chaos, please smash that like button and subscribe, or I will come down your chimney to complain. And do not click away because if you thought this was bad, you have to watch the video on your end screen right now.